Okay, let's get started. Hello everyone. Welcome to today's webinar and thank you for all your introduction. I saw all your conversation in the chat box. And this is a webinar series. This is a webinar series. And the topic of today is how to select an appropriate journal and assess impact. I'm the speaker of today, Kang. I'm also Services and Asia Training Executive from Cambridge University Press, Beijing office. And this is a schedule of our webinar series. We will have the webinar every fourth Thursday in the following months. We're going to share the PowerPoint and we will share the recording file to you, so don't worry about the slides. And for you who have joined our first webinar, you may already know me, but for you who are new here, this is an introduction of me. I'm working to improve the author experience and help authors to achieve their professional goals. My efforts are currently focused on supporting authors to improve their chances at publishing in top-tier journals, focusing presently on Asia. Okay, so let's start. We will go through two topics today. First, we will talk about how to select an appropriate journal. I will share some tips and a function for selecting target journals. And then to assess impact, we will discuss different platforms assessments such as JIF, SETscore, and SJR, which could help you to target your journals easily. Okay, let's start from selecting a journal. So the top reason that editors gave for an outright rejection of an article is that it is submitted to the wrong journal. Choosing the right journal for your research can seem daunting, but it doesn't need to be. By following some simple tips, you can narrow your focus. So this is like the whole process. I'm going to talk about the whole process, and when you have the structure in your mind, we're going to go through all the details in each step. So for the whole thing, select the journals before you start writing your manuscript. It is very important to have a clear target journal before writing. This is because you can check the author guidelines and plan your manuscript format earlier and save your time. And second, aiming high. When you pick up journals, pick up good ones, even the top ones. When you submit your manuscript to the journals, even if you got rejection, if you start from the top, after receiving those comments, you can modify your article and submit the manuscript to the second one. So in this case, you won't miss any good chance to have your manuscript published in a good journal. And third, check appropriately. Select 10 or even more journals. We're going to go through the details in this part with the following slides. And number 4, check details. When you have a target journal list, check the aim and the scope and delete the unsuitable ones. If you're not sure about whether it is suitable before writing, you can send the draft title and draft abstract to journals, to journal editors via email and ask them if you can submit your article to their journal. And then check author's guidelines. So ensure the paper is presented according to the journal requirements. For example, citation style, abstract, keywords, and even article type. Some journal might not accept like case study or conference paper, so you need to check first. If you are planning to write an article, you need to make sure, or if you are planning to write certain type of article, you need to make sure that this journal accepts your article type. Many journals in physical or mathematical science provide LaTeX templates for authors to use. So if you're choosing those journals, you may want to download their templates first. And journal rank, this is for how to select your journal. When you have a list of target journal, you can make a journal rank list and start to submit your manuscript from the top. We are making the rank list. You can refer to GIF or CiteScore of the journal. We will talk about the GIF, CiteScore, and other platform later. And the next, OA or non-OA. It depends on your institution and your funding. You need to check with them first to see if you are allowed to publish in OA journal, and also check the target journal. If you want to publish in OA, whether they accept OA, is it a hybrid one? Is it subscription one? Is it a OA journal? The next, international or local. So sometimes we might ask ourselves, shall I select the international or the local journal? Well, it depends on the content of your article. For example, there was an article doing research about the ecosystem of a small lake in Scotland. Normally, this kind of paper author would submit the article to local journals, because this is not something that people all around the world would be interested in. However, the article talks about how the changes in the lake can prove that the global climate is changing. In that case, the article should be submitted to an international journal, because lots of people care about global warming, global climate change. What I want to say is that you need to think about the content of your paper and the reader's preference, and then you make decision. And the final detail, rejection rate. So many researchers suggest authors check the rejection rate before they decide to submit their manuscript. Some journals might not have a high impact factor. We will talk about this later. But they could have a really high rejection rate. That means they are really strict about the article quality. You may want to think about whether there is a replacement journal. In that case, you don't want just put that only one journal as your target journal. And the fifth step keeps a selection list. As we said, we will have more than one target journal. We're gonna select, we're gonna got a list. We might have 2 to 10 different journals listed in ranking. So keep the list. You might need that in the future. Okay, that's like the whole process. When we understand that, let's talk about how to select an appropriate one. So here are some tips. When you're trying to select a journal, you can talk to your network. You can think about journals you see and read. You can assess the journal on your shortlist. And you can also use journal selector tools. I will introduce one for you in the next slide. And then ask some questions to pick up the suitable ones. First, do you want your article to be available open access? Second, do your work suit a journal with a broader scope or a more specialized journal? So some journal like Halion, they are like really, they has really broad scope. They accept almost all kinds of disciplines. Do you want this kind of journal or a more specialized one? And the third question, do you want aim your work at a particular audience or community? Do you want to submit your manuscript to a society journal? When you have the answer with those journals, those questions, you might have already got some appropriate one. So for the selecting tool, this is one of them. Web of Science has created the manuscript matcher. I've put the link here. When we share the PDF to you, you can just click this link and go to the website. So as long as you put a title and 100-word abstract, it can provide you with a lot of suitable journals with all kinds of information. You don't have to have the final version. Just some thoughts. Then you can have a list. I just use a title. I didn't put any abstract. I put the title there, and the matcher listed, I think, 24 different journals. You can see here they have lots of information. If you click that, you can also go to the web page of those journals. And there is another good thing, that these can help us to avoid the predatory journal. So they are all real journals. There's no fake journals. And this is a selector tool. Yeah, when we have method of how to select, we narrow down, and then we got, like, for example, we got 8 different journals. We need to make them, we need to do some assessment and make them as a list, a rank list. So we need to start from thinking about what the editorial team is likely to be looking for. First of all, it's very important to say that the impact factor is just one factor among many. So when you're selecting a journal, this is just one factor. Well, it is probably the most recognized one. There are many other things you should consider about. So here are some tips, like 6 one we're gonna go through. So first, we strongly encourage you to read the manuscript submission guideline associated with their chosen journal as early as possible. Like we said, when we got list, when we are selecting, we start to read those guidelines. Even during the manuscript preparation process, you're better to ensure a full understanding of the journal's audience and scope. This is very important. And this gives varied information on the journal's subject area coverage, accept article type, manuscript style notes, and special forms of submissions. As we mentioned earlier, one of the most common reasons for rejection is that articles are not within the scope of journal. Even you got those lists like I did in the selector tools, the scope of the journal and the scope of your article sometimes also have gap. You need to find the most suitable one. And then take a time to read recent publications in each journal. You don't have to read everything, but look through the issues and try to understand the types of articles that are being published. Ask yourself, is my paper related to others in that journal? This is a really good way to tell if my paper is suitable to that journal. And then consider the general hierarchy. How significant are your findings to the understanding of your discipline? The more significant, the higher you can aim. Look at the hierarchy. Do you think your paper is as good as the other papers in the journal? If not, then your chance of publication are reduced. So we set aiming high, but that doesn't mean aiming too high. So when we know our levels, we can go a little bit higher than what we are expected. Okay, then what are you looking for? Think about this. Are you happy with the journal's policy on peer review and open access? does it allow you to comply with your founder's mandate? Is it clear what fee will be charged? Like the article processing charge. When you're choosing open access, are you clear about that? If you choose Cambridge, have you asked your supervisor or your librarian if your university or your institution has TA with us, do you have to pay for the fee, or is your organization paid for that? So based on all those questions, all these, then you can think about which one you prefer, which journal you want to put that to the first one, the top one I want to submit my manuscript to. Okay, so let's talk about predatory journal. So when we're talking about the selector tool, I said it's a good thing that we don't have to worry about those journals. They must not be predatory journals. So what are predatory journals? There has been a recent rise in what is called predatory journals. They normally saying they are fake journals that exist primarily to extract a fee from authors. So these journals, they look legitimate and employ increasingly creative ways to extract money. They think about all kinds of, they try their best to think ways to extract money from authors. They often choose names confusingly similar to reputable titles and have convincing fake editorial boards. For example, there's a good journal, really top one called Cell, and there is another one called Cells. But if there's a fake one, they might say the Cell or the Cells. So it's quite similar with the reputable one. If you're not that if you not go to that detail, you might be go in there, submit your manuscript to the predatory one, the fake one. So these predatory journals claim to be open access. Why? Because the open access movement provided an opportunity for them to grow. It introduced a mode where the author pays a charge of publishing. Only in this mode, they have chance to extract author's fee. So when you're selecting open access journals, you should check that. Okay, then the question is how to avoid, how do I check those journals? First, ask your colleagues, ask yourself, do you or do your colleagues know that journal? Have you read any articles in that journal before? Is it easy to discover the latest papers in the journal? Name of the journal. Is it journal name the same as or easily confused with that of another? Can you cross-check with information about journal in the ISSN portal? Fake journal doesn't have that ISSN, right? So if you doubt that, check them, cross-check, and then try these and think about this. Can you easily contact the publisher? Is the publisher a member of any recognized industry initiatives? For example, the Committee on Publication Ethics, the COPE. And then think, is the journal clear about the type of peer review it uses? Does the website mention whether the process involves independent or external reviewers? How many reviewers per paper? And ask, is a publisher offering a review by an expert editorial board or by researchers in your subject area? Does the journal guarantee acceptance or guarantee a very short peer review time. Normally at least we need a week, right? 2 weeks for peer review. If they said, okay, 2 days or 1 day, we're gonna finish the peer review, we're gonna go really fast. 3 days, we're gonna publish your paper, put that online. Then you should think about that. Is that a fake one? And judging the quality of a journal is not always simple, but resources are available. You can check whether a journal is indexed in a reputable database, such as PubMed, DOAJ, Scopus, or Web of Science. But remember, for new journals launches, it may take a few years to be included in Scopus or Web of Science. So maybe you want to look at PubMed. And criteria for assessing the quality of open access publisher and journals also include sites such as Think, Check, Submit. I put the site here. This is an initiative launched by a coalition of publishers and industry organization, which provides tools to make the process of choosing the right journal for your work simpler. So you can also get this link after this presentation. This is a very useful one. Okay, so that's about the first part. Let's move to the second part, assessing impact. Before we talk about journal impact factor or site score, I'd like to talk about the Declaration on Research Assessment. So CUP is a signatory of DORA, as is a university. DORA is a campaign from various stakeholders to move away from the over-reliance on the journal impact factor as a way of assessing the quality of research, and moved towards a much richer array of article-level metrics to assess impact. So the core idea is the impact factor should not be the only tool and the only stand for evaluating research. So that's a cool thing, but we're going to talk about impact factor on the next slide. So why they don't want impact factor to be the only one? So we need to know what is it. The impact factor is probably the most recognized one of journal impact. It was established as a key measure of comparing journals on journal citation reports, we call JCR, back in 1970s. It is important to note that it is a metric about a journal, not about a paper. So it's a journal level thing, not a paper level, not individual level. So who's the source? Journal impact factor got those data from Web of Science, which belongs to Clarivate. And how's it calculate? I put the formula there. If you're interested, you can take a look at that, but you don't have to. So the impact factor evaluates impact by measuring the frequency with which the average article in a journal is cited in a particular year. It does this by dividing the number of current year citations to article published in the journal in the previous 2 years by total number of items published in the journal in those 2 years. Was complicated. So how to interpret it? We can make it simple. So if a journal impact is 1, that means on average, the articles published 1 or 2 years ago have been cited 1 time. A journal impact factor of 2 or 2.5, let's say a 2.5, that means that on average, the article published 1 or 2 years ago have been cited 2.5 times. So that's how to interpret it. Sounds like a really good standard for the journal, but what are the limitations? So the key limitation is that the GCR does not include or give an impact factor to every journal that exists. Like what we talked, Web of Science and Scopus, they don't have every legitimate journal. So authors and users should be aware that there could be a truly excellent journal that does not yet have an impact factor. And that's why we will recommend you to check the rejection rate. Maybe this one is a really good journal, but it might not have impact factor. And another important limitation is that the impact factor does not take into account a range of factors that might influence an article's impact. The factors include subject area. For example, a 2-year period. It's not great for social science journals. They need longer citation windows, and they usually have lower numbers of citations than STEM. So that's another issue. The size of journal is another factor. So IF can easily be influenced by single highly cited paper. So it is said 90% Nature's IF caused by 1/4 of its publications. So the 1/4 of its publications make contribution to almost all the IF to the journal. So that's another drawback, another limitation. Okay. Then Sci-Score. So Sci-Score is quite similar with the impact factor. It measures the average citations received per document published in the title. And the Sci-Score values are based on citation counts in a range of 4 years, a little bit longer than GIF. And the database is Scopus, which belongs to Elsevier. So the calculation way is quite similar with GIF. And also their flaws is also very similar with GIF. I'm going to talk a little bit about how it calculates. So the Sci-Score counts the citations received over a 4-year period to articles, to reviews, to conference papers, book chapters, data papers published in that same 4-year period, and divide these by the number of publications during that time. The article type of Sci-Score is a little bit larger, more than the GIF, because it includes conference papers, book chapters, and even data papers. So that's the difference. Okay, you may ask, do we have any other platform, any other way to make assessment? Yes, we have ICI Margo Journal Rank called SJR. So it is also, it is based on the concept of a transfer of prestige between journals via their citation link. So it is developed by the SCI Margo team using the Google PageRank algorithm based on the journals included in the Scopus database and visually analyzed the quality and level of journals. The most important feature of this is that it ranks journal based on comprehensive evaluation indicators, not only the traditional impact factor values. You can have a look at the website. They have lots of very useful functions and very interesting catalogs. This is ICI Margo journal rank, a little bit different. Okay. After that, let's go down to the individual level, the Google Scholar Matrix. Let's talk about the H-index. So the H-index of a publication is the largest number H, such as at least H articles in that publication was cited at least H time H. So for example, if I have an H-index of 10, that means I have published at least 10 papers. Each of those papers has been cited at least 10 times. So at least 10 paper has been published, at least 10 times of each paper has been cited. So that's H-index equals to 10. So H5 index of a publication, that means we calculate the H-index of only the articles that were published in the last 5 years, 5 complete calendar years. Just the difference between these two are just the time period. And then the alt matrix. So this is an article level quantitative measure of attention. So altmetric is an alternative metric that looks at the attention to a specific journal article on social media, blogs, and mainstream news sites, and assigns resultant score. That score is based on a number of based on the number of mentions the paper receives. So the quality of the source of the mention, and also who is mentioning the paper. So that means the new article generally receive a higher score. Like news articles generally receive a higher score than Twitter. Mentions from a journal publisher score lower than mentions from an independent academic in the field. So altmetric is an article level metric. So the score represents only an individual article and does not reflect the other content in that journal. So this just is an individual level, article level thing. And the score is less important than the fact that this is a way of capturing different types of impact. So in that case, altmetric captures a reference to the article in the conversation and the various news outlets. This is a capture to say that. And this is the article level image to show how's it work. Okay, so for the final two article level, individual level thing, you don't have to use them to evaluate your journal. But for SciScore and GIF or even ICI Margo ranking, you can use them when you're selecting your journals, your target journals. Okay, so that's everything for today. Describe briefly. If you have any questions, I'm going to check the Q&A box. Where can we find the template of the journal normally on their web page, for example, in Cambridge, if you want, excuse me, if you go to the web page of that journal, you can find the template. And I think many journals are working with Overleaf. If you go to Overleaf, or if you go to the web page, you can check the template. Yes, the web page on the journal web page. Yeah, normally for all the publishers, the templates are all in the journal web page. Some journals might put that in author guidelines. Some might put in for authors. So you can have a look at that. Type and also. Okay, next. Can you describe briefly on Q1, 2, 3, and 4 journals? Oh, well, if we use GCR, yes, we have full section. Let's say 4 sections. Because that's GCR, they used the impact factor to make the rank list. So the first quarter would be Q1, and then Q2, Q3, Q4. But in China, we also have CAS rank list. That's another way to calculate. It's quite difficult. It's quite complicated formula, but it's like triangle. In China, I'm talking about the China one. So it's only, I think, 1 to 5% or 1 to 4% top journals are in Q1, and then Q2, Q3. So it's a little bit different with the GCR one. So GCR is pretty much like a rectangular, so just cut evenly based on the journal IF. So why do you want to know Q1 and Q2, Q3? It's good. Yeah, it's good to know if you are trying to select based on that. Like, yeah. It's my first time to hear about think checksum.org. I will have to check out as possible to can list of potential for journal and publisher to be used. To be used to determine their predictions as well. Well, list of potential. I think yes. You can double check. You can cross check in these two parts, but that list as like a personal thing. Determine their prediction as well. Yeah, you can use both, but I think think check and submit.org, they not only listed journals, they provide you with the method of how could you distinguish the fake one and the legitimate one. For example, I think I read a tape like half a year or 1 year ago. Normally the fake journals, they will also put the logo of COPE there, but the resolution could be really low. If you go to Cambridge or go to like other publishers website, you can see we have a really large and clear picture of COPE, but the fake one, because they are now the members, they don't have high resolution image. So if they download on the internet, it's not high resolution enough. So that's a small tip. So I think, yeah, it's better to know how instead of only go the list. And thank you for asking that. But the order is how to select and suggest the reviewers. From author side, yeah, sometimes we would suggest you to suggest reviewers. So you need to know you cannot suggest that those reviewers have conflict of interest with you. For example, you cannot recommend your supervisor, your co-author, your like colleagues, but you can you can recommend some expert, but not like very famous professors, because they don't have enough time to review the article. They might have time, but I think they got 100 papers waiting to be reviewed. So find some experts, but not like the super famous professors. Yeah, you might read their papers, you might reference their papers, and you can recommend those authors. How could I say? No, I can't. I'm considering one of Cambridge core journal to submit my manuscript. Wow, thank you. However, the journal homepage includes later information about journal matrix, for example, made in time for submission to acceptance. Okay. Also, can't make decisions just based on, is there any way to get this additional information? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. The median time for submission to acceptance is very important for authors. Yeah, could you go to that web page and check the publisher's or journal editor's email? You can email that person, and that person must know about those informations. They will reply to you after Christmas, I think, after the holiday. Yeah, just email them. So questions like these, you can send emails to the journal, either journal editor or the publisher, the journal assistant. They all know these basic information. Yeah, thank you for considering us. Can we access some samples of CUP journals? Yes. It listed in the author submission guideline, I think. Most of them have that. I think we have a guide. We have a guide to on the author hub. I don't know whether you know the author hub. Let me type it. Okay, this is a future schedule, and we have one slide. So we have a place called Author Hub. You can go to Author Hub. They have guides. On that website, it has guides of these questions. Can we access some samples of CUP journals? There are many guides there, and some videos. Yeah, you can check on that website, like Cambridge Author Hub. And can authors use artificial intelligence like ChatGPT to write an article and submit it? Wow. I think we shared it in web page on the first webinar. We have very detailed policy about ChatGPT and working with AI. I'm going to put that link again to this PDF. So that's quite a lot of things on that web page. And the next one, the journal search surveys of Cambridge University Press you mentioned is free. It is free, but it is still under developing. So I'm working with the IT and we are developing the function. If we got that function, it will be totally free. And you put the article title and abstract, then we're gonna recommend you the journals like what I showed, the manuscript marcher. And the next question, what if we are rejected for the first time? Then we revise, then resubmit, or should we find another journal? Thank you. Well, it's pretty hard to for you to be accepted if you are rejected. So two rejection types. First is desk rejection, what we call outright rejection, because your article is out of the scope. Then there's no way to accept again, because your scope is here, the article's scope is here. You can't match to they can't match to your article, and your article can't match to that. So in that case, you need to find another one. And another is like rejection after the peer review. Then you got lots of comments. So normally in like 99% situation, I can't say 100, but I can say 99%, the journal would not allow you to resubmit again because it has been rejected after peer review. That means the level of your article cannot get to the level of the journal. There is a gap between you. So that could be very difficult, but that doesn't mean no one can do that. Someone might achieve that. But really, really, really rare and almost impossible. I would say like almost impossible. So you'd better choose another journal. So that's why we said when we have like 20 journal first, and we pick up 8 maybe or 5 journals, and then we make them a list. We start from the top, and we still have 4 like plan B. So we don't have to worry about the future journals. We know that scope matches and level matches, everything is matched. Yeah. So yeah, that's the main reason why we need a list. And how can I search journals to publish with no cost that have good Scopus index? Scopus in no cost. Well, the no cost has 2 situations. So first, if that's subscription journal, that's no cost. And the second, if your institution has agreement with the publisher, that's also no cost. So for example, Cambridge University, I think Hong Kong University, they signed TA with us. So all the staff or students in the, like everyone working or studying in Hong Kong University, they can publish their manuscript free to all the open access journals in Cambridge. So yeah, if you're looking for subscription journals, it shows that, right? For example, the journal selector tool, it can list the information that this one is subscription, and it has higher index. If you're looking for the one like Cambridge one, and your institution has signed agreement with us, that's easy. You just go to your librarian. They can tell you if that's free or not. If you are able to have a free one, and yeah, you need also check the index yourself. Yeah, that's not a simple situation. That could be two different situations. And the next question: can authors use artificial intelligence, such as write an article, submit to? Oh yeah, answer that. I'm gonna share the link with you. Cambridge Journal is free of charge to publish. We have hybrid journals, we have subscription journals, we also have open access journals, Diamond OA. Diamond OA subscription, that's all free. And for hybrid, under that hybrid journals, if you select the subscription, the traditional mode, it's free. If you select the open access, that's the same situation with Go OA. So in that case, you need to check whether your institution has signed the agreement with us. If yes, you can publish for free. If not, you need to pay for that. And we also are in the research for life. If your institution or your situation is like you're doing a really good research, but you don't have enough funding, and you have low income, you can apply for free publish. So that's basically for the charge of publish. And the next question, Tom, sometime my colleague said that MDPI Frontiers and Hindawi may be pretty rich publisher, although they are still indexed in WOI. So what do you think about this? So, well, it's hard to say they are predatory publishers, because all the journals, they have ISN, they are listed in the ISN portal. So for MDPI, they just have like a quicker, they really have a fast peer review time and really quick, but they have real editorial board. They have ISSN. They have everything legally. So I can't say that they are predatory journal, but so I guess the predatory publisher maybe means maybe have some other things. For example, for MDPI and Frontiers and even Hindawi, they grow really fast. And looks like, and they publish lots of papers. Even they all go through peer review process. Even everything is legitimate, but they go really fast, and they grow really fast. So that sounds like a predatory thing for the marketing, I guess. But I can't say the journal are predatory journals. Yeah. And the next question, do you have to pay for every research article to be published in a reputable Scopus journal? Well, that depends. Some reputable Scopus journals, they are subscription. I think there's a top journal in my discipline. It's kind of like hybrid journal. It has subscription and Gold OA, but you can still submit in the subscription way. In that case, you don't have to pay. Could you please share today's previous PowerPoint? Yes. Yeah. I think we shared the previous one and sent email. Maybe you joined a little bit late, but I think we can share that again. I will discuss with my colleagues, and we can share the PDF, everything. Let me make a folder for you. I will put them together and then send to you. Can you give us tips, tricks to get manuscripts? Wow, tips and tricks to get manuscript accepted. I got lots of tips. I think I will talk about this in next webinar. Yeah, that's my plan. Or the 5th. Let me check. So this is my plan. Next time, I'm going to talk about peer review and ethics, and also how to write your manuscript, how to prepare your manuscript, and then essential skill for academic, enhance international impact of understand research transparency. Well, I will add this part. Yeah. This is not just a question. I can talk about that for 10 minutes. So I will make some slides, like 5 or 6 slides, and I will put all the tips and tricks of how to get a manuscript published, accepted. Yeah, in next webinar, or the 5th one, the 3rd or the 5th one. I will do that. Don't worry. And is it normal that editor also have some questions and comments like an additional reviewer? Some question and comments like an additional reviewer. You mean the journal editor? Yeah, that's normal. So after peer review, everything gonna go to the journal editor. So the journal editor will double check. When they check, they have comments. They would also put some question or comments there. That's quite common, and that's their responsibility. They have to double check, and if they find some issues, problems, they have to point them out. Yeah, that's common. And then the next one, how important is it for research to obtain a human ethical review certification to publish paper and a reputable human ethical review certification? Do you mean the ethical code from ethical review certificate, human ethical review certification? So if you're doing medical science, if you don't have ethical code, you're not allowed to publish that. That's the necessary thing, the ethical code. I don't know whether if you're talking about the ethical review certification, is that the ethical code? Yeah, you need that. You need report to the ethical institution. Doesn't matter which one in your country, and get the ethical code, and then you can publish. If not, no ethical code, no publisher dare to publish your paper. And how long will it take for me to know that my paper was accepted for CEP? Their phase. Well, it depends on the discipline and journals. Some journals might be really quick, like 2 months. Some journals might be a little bit longer, like 6 months. And again, for the fees, if you choose subscription, you don't have to pay. If you choose open access, if you have TA, the agreements with CUP, you don't have to pay. Only if you choose open access and your institution doesn't have any agreement with CUP, and then you need to pay. Will there be a recording of this and previous? Yes, there will be recording. I think we share that on YouTube. And as you registered, you're gonna receive an email of the PDF. I will put the first one and the second one together and then send to you all. Thank you. Thank you for joining. And can you please send the form link again? Form link. Which forms link? I will ask my colleague, can you send the link again? And next one, is there an attendance link sent for? Oh, attendance link. I don't think we have that. Attendance link? No, we don't have attendance link. No. Okay, that's all the questions. APA style still using? Which journal is using? I think some journal is using APA, right? Yeah. For many publishers, they use APA, I think. But I don't remember which journals. But yeah, I think some journals are still using APA style. Yeah. Well, if we don't have any question, thank you for joining and wish you a happy new year. Thank you. And we will see each other. I will see you on this day, 25th January next year. If you want to, you can scan this QR code and send feedback to us. We will improve, we will modify, and based on your feedback. And thank you very much for joining. Have a good day.